What is up? We are back, Marvin. We're back. We're back. I just love it every time we come on here and the crowd is just like the crowd is hot. The crowd. You know what? You want to know why the crowd is so hot and hype? Guess what happened today, Marvin? Guess what happened today?
I have no idea what happened.
Hey, your Kickstarter's over. Congratulations.
Yeah, finally over.
Oh, you said it's finally over. The crowd is just loving it. Yeah. Hey, thanks for everybody for supporting the Kickstarter. Thanks for coming on to Comicsburg today to check us out. I'm your man, DP Brown. I'm the writer and creator of The Theme of Thieves. This is my man, Marvin, of The Edge, writer and creator of. As we just talked about today, he just finished his Kickstarter, finished that, grind of the Kickstarter and stuff. And he made it to his goal today. Well, not goal today. He made it actually there last week and everything. But we want to congratulate him because he did such a really good job, doing the Kickstarter. What do you think about that, Marvin?
I mean, it was a little slow. But I mean, it's kind of feels like that. All these things seem to go like that. You have like your high periods, your low periods, and your high periods again, then your low periods again. And I would just be nice if it was just funded in like 24, 48 hours, and then I don't have to worry about it after that. You can just start throwing in stretch goals and like, oh yeah, so if we get to 500 backers, we'll unlock this, we'll unlock that. But it's a good feeling for it to be done.
Yeah. I mean, go ahead.
No, I was going to say we got the late pledges are on, so if anybody else wants to jump on that, feel free.
Yep, and that's a new thing too because Kickstarter didn't used to do late pledges. So, like Marvin said, if you guys are coming in late, the late comers and stuff, sometimes people straggle to the party. He's still doing some late pledges where you can actually be able to still back his Kickstarter and stuff, and it really did good. So we definitely thank all you guys for coming on. And actually backing, another successful Comicsburg, Kickstarter. Thanks again, Marvin. Thanks again for everybody. Hey, I mean, they're somewhere they're hot, the block is hot as far as that. All right, so just want to do a little bit of house cleaning. Make sure that you guys are following us at Comicsburg. We're all over social media. On Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. We do like a little bit of, or we may be doing like a little bit of dancing and shucking and jiving and stuff. You never know. It's TikTok. So.
Shucking and jiving.
Shucking and jiving. So yeah, just make sure you follow us at Comicsburg on all over social media there. Sometimes we're on X, if it's still there. Also make sure that you are going to like our website, comicsburg.com. If you are watching us on YouTube, thank you. Make sure you smash that subscribe button. Also hit that notification buttons. So anytime that we're on, that we're on. If you're watching us on Facebook, thank you as well. Make sure you like and share, our feeds and everything. We definitely appreciate you guys, supporting our stuff. We're slowly just getting up as far as subscribers, getting, followers up. We're slowly building our channel. It's still like in the young stages and everything, but we're building up and, we're going to be taking over the world at some point.
Just a little fella right now. We want to make him a big fella.
Oh yeah. For sure. But, we got some really good stuff, like I said, with the house clean, we got like, just tell them a little bit more about what we got as far as like stuff coming out this month.
Oh, so in the current previews catalog, we have 2 titles, Blowtorch, Bad Roads Deluxe Edition. So it's collecting issues 1 and 2. That's from Alfred Page, and The Edge issue 8. So we're barreling towards the end of the Reign of Chaos storyline, which ends with issue 9 before we start our new storyline, which we'll be talking about in a couple weeks.
Oh, awesome. And don't forget to follow League of Cryptics issues 1 and 2. Grant will be starting his Kickstarter pretty soon. He'll be going through like all the love and torture and stuff that goes with that. So, but we're really excited about that. I mean, we at Comicsburg, we do successful Kickstarters here. We do nothing but successful stuff. So we try to make it Really great for you guys. And we definitely appreciate you guys reading and supporting our stuff. We put a lot of hard work into it. We put a lot of effort and a lot of passion into like, the Comicsburg stuff. So definitely appreciate you, supporting the stuff. Marvin, do you believe in comics, man?
I believe in comics. I believed in comics all day Saturday during local comic shop day at New Dimension Comics. I was there. I was believing in comics. We actually had people come in who were said they'd never been in the shop before. So they said they walked past it. Yeah, they walked past it multiple times and never came in. Like 3 or 4 people came in for the first time.
What? Came into a comics shop just for the first time? That's crazy.
Yeah. Didn't know what local comic shop either.
Yeah, I mean, that just goes to show you how much more that comics need to be promoted. You know, how that a lot of people in the community, they see the stuff on TV, they go to the movies and stuff, but it's just crazy how a lot of this stuff doesn't trickle down into like the actual, stores and shops and stuff. Mm-hmm. We support all like the mainstream and pop culture stuff, but we need more of it trickling down to like the comic shops and stuff, the people who the store owners who really support like the stuff that comes out and all that and everything.
Right. I mean, and it's not just it's creating a community. So you want a community around your comic shop. You want it to be a destination, not a cave. So nobody wants to go into a cave. They want to come to a destination. They want to feel like they're welcome, and they want to feel like that they're walking in the door. It should be a celebration.
Yeah, I mean, if only we could celebrate every comic person and fan that comes right into the store. I mean, and speaking of, supporting like, fans in the community and everything, we're going to bring on some really special guests. They're here, with, us talking about, how much they love comics, how much, how passionate they are with comics, and passionate enough to actually own a store, which is what our, I still believe in comics retail talk is with, with store owners and stuff. So we're going to bring them on. We got Matt and Shannon live from Bat City Professionals. Thank you guys for coming on here. They love you. Look at her. Look at her.
They're beautiful. They're all beautiful. They love us. How you fellas doing?
They love you. Good. How you guys doing on this Monday night?
Feeling great.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, we're excited to be here.
Thank you for coming on. You guys are in Bradenton, Florida. So, first want to ask, are you guys safe? Did you get any effects of like the Hurricane Helene that, came down there?
Yeah, we personally and the store, we're totally fine. About 10 minutes down the road is Anna Maria Island. They have been devastated. And so, we're trying to get supplies and everything gathered for them because just 10 minutes away, it's completely gone. So
that is crazy. Wow. Just totally wiped out. I mean,
4 feet of sand in all the businesses.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oof.
Yeah. You don't think about the sand blowing in, but
Right.
Yeah. It was they had a storm surge that was, I think, like 6 feet high. So the sand and the water went real high on them. But thankfully, this far inland, we just got a lot of wind.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's good to hear that you guys are safe, and for everybody out there that's still struggling and all that stuff, make sure that you go to your, nearest FEMA camps and stuff, any set of Red Cross and everything, make sure you reach out to them, and just make sure that you guys are safe. It was a really devastating thing up in Asheville, other parts of North Carolina and stuff. These things happen like every year. Sometimes it happens harder than others and stuff, but it's just an unfortunate thing. And, but we, like I said, we're glad you guys are safe and you and your family.
And who would have thought the mountains, like with Asheville and everybody, I mean, they're 400 miles from a coastline. So for them to get devastated the way they did, that's not even coast at that point. That's just straight mountain range. And it's insane.
Sad.
Yeah, it just makes you wonder and everything. How does weather just go?
Yeah.
With a bunch of other stuff. But yeah, like I said, that we have Matt and Shannon live, here from Bat City Comic Professionals in Bradenton, Florida. Okay. How long have you guys been in business with Bat City Comics Professionals?
Go ahead.
We're going into our seventh year. Yeah, we're going into our 7th year as Bat City. We were open in Austin, Texas for about 5 years, and then we've been out here in Bradenton for 2 years. Yeah, the name Bat City is actually the name of Austin, like how what Pittsburgh Steel City, right? And Steel Town, and Windy City, Chicago was Bat City in Austin because of all the bats that live under the bridge in downtown Austin. And about 1.5 million bats fly out every night into the sky in like a cyclone. And even if you walked out between 5 and 7 at night in the old shop in Austin, you could see them flying all over the sky. So that's Bat City for that. Cool. And then, of course, the double entendres is Batman and the whole thing. You know, so it's,
that probably had like Bruce Wayne in like the middle of the pack and stuff. You know, all of a sudden you see this guy pretending.
No, that was a movie with Lou Diamond Phillips. I remember.
Yeah. Love that movie.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, you guys are really great store owners and stuff. I mean, Bat City has. I was checking you guys' website out. You guys have like stuff for kids with comics creation workshops. You got stuff for schools with curriculum development. Stuff for like the Girl Scouts. BAM books for Magic, Slam Academy. Ooh, the stores that we talked about so far do some really good stuff in their community, but you guys do like so much. How do you have so much time? Or how do you have any time actually? You, Shannon, because I see you like almost every week and everything. How do you have enough time to read all those comics? You do sometimes, Shannon. Matt. How do you have the time to read all those comics and do all the extracurricular, stuff with your shop there?
Yeah, well, I discovered a time turner when I was 13 years old, and I've been no, it's honestly we have one child, which is a fuzzy one that is sitting at our feet right now. We have a cat, so we don't have children, which does help with our time management, like going directly to all of this. And we know that is part of like the luxury of not having a child in that sense, that we have that extra free time for that. But honestly, we don't watch TV, and we don't play video games. And so for us, it's like, that time is spent reading. And we are currently we're in our kitchen right now, which is all of one story above our store. So we go. There's no traffic. Yeah. Our commute is 37 seconds down the staircase. It's only that long because we need to clean our back room. And so otherwise it would be like a 13-second commute. But it's so it's really like the timing for us comes from just we can constantly go back, and work on things if we want.
And what's the, when you think about it, it's like, when you get off work, what do you want to do, right? You guys go and you work on comics, unless it's your main job. And if you're working on comics all day, then what do you do when you get done working on comics, right? Well, with us, our hobby used to be, let's get home and bag and board our comics and play with our comics.
Yeah.
Well, now we've got a whole store full, so the shop closes, and now you can just do it without customers in the building. So
yeah. And to answer the reading question, I read all of the books on Sunday while Matt watches the store. So that is the cheat that I have.
Okay.
That Matt watches the store on Sunday, and I will sit there and read all day, which is sometimes means I can go back like halfway through the day and finish out the day in the store. And days like yesterday when I had 60 books to read, I was like, I'm not coming back. Like I'm going to read from 12 to 8 and I'm going to barely make it to the live stream if I'm lucky. And I missed one book, but that was it. I missed one yesterday.
Yeah.
I mean, that is just totally awesome because you guys have it like every week and everything. And I see you, Shannon, you're doing your stuff just like without any notes. As far as I can see, it looks like you're doing, come in for, oh man, that's, do you have like, you have a, yeah, she does have a teleprompter. She said she did it with no notes.
I do. There's no notes.
Do you have like a photographic memory?
I do have a photographic memory. You'll notice every once in a while where I'll get to a book and I'll be like, what? And I have to like turn it around because I need that like jar of like the memory where I'm like, wait, which one was this one? Okay, got it. Especially like when I get to those number ones and I'm like, This is the first time I've read this, so like let me get that muscle memory.
Yeah, you said what was this one about?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I
this
remember
one.
now.
Yeah, like, and that's why I go in the order. That is also the secret strategy to the stream is I read the books in the same order that I present them. And so the number ones are the last ones I read so that they're the most fresh in my mind when I start the show. Because if like I pick up issue 17 of something and I can't remember what that issue is about, I've had 16 issues to figure out what that book is about and tell you about. I can tell you about the book either way. But those number ones, I need them to be as fresh as possible. So they're the last ones I read before I go live. And just kind of hope for the best. But no, I do actually have a photographic memory, which has come in handy a lot with this.
Hey, that's great. And you do a really great job with it. I love watching your streams, and you read a lot of books, so I'm sure sometimes it could be like some iffy ones, between there and there, but you make every book sound so exciting and everything. So I for all on behalf of all the creators out there to have their books, reviewed and read by you, thank you. You do such a really good job. You guys do such a really great job support some indie stuff, just period. A couple things I actually want to get into before we actually start talking about indie questions and everything. Yeah. You guys have the Comics Creations Workshop. Story time with the students and stuff. So I guess the question is, what makes you so passionate about communicating the language of comics with students, with kids, or whatever ages it may be, who wants to for people who actually wants to get into comics?
Yeah. Our entire operation, I say, is a 501c3 nonprofit organization. So the funds from things that are bought in our store go towards all of this programming that we do. And the reason it's so important is I used to work as a reading and writing specialist. And one of the things I saw was that, kids are getting the same pieces of paper, the same stories, the same books all the time, and they're getting bored with them. And it's not appealing to their interest levels. And so I asked if I could start using pop culture references in classrooms and in workshops to kind of help the kids. And you see that you get so much more of a response. And, at this point, the education community has proved that comics have all of the things that are necessary to really make people's minds stimulate to learn that information and to retain that information and to be able to communicate information. And we've got all of the studies for it that, you need that verbal and visual combination, and comics bring it there. Comics got it. They've got it going on. They make kids excited about learning, and they make them understand the information. And so why not take this? We've got a store full of comics. We've got a world full of kids, especially right now, who are really struggling with those reading and writing concepts coming out of COVID more than ever. Why not put the two together and use that to get them excited about it? And then it also gets them excited about comics as readers for the rest of their lives, in the same way that we're here and we're excited about reading for the rest of their lives. You build knowledge, but you also build a developmental memory all at the same time. And you make the world a beautiful place through comics.
So do you find that the schools that you interact with, the literacy rates are a little higher than they are in other areas?
So we actually are working with a lot of Title I schools, which is usually schools in underserved communities. Their test scores are usually lower. And we do actually see a lot of the students start to showcase that progress as they're going on. We're working with the Boys and Girls Club and after school programs or summer programs. And we'll see over the course of programs that we create that progress that they're getting there. And for some, it's a big jump in progress. Actually, the little girl that was just on the screen had some really amazing progress in her reading program. But and then some, it's that one little thing that clicks for them. And even if it's just that one little thing, it's worth it, because there's so much that they have to learn and take in. And so if we can teach them one thing, we're happy to do it. And honestly, like whether or not even their test scores grow up, we see them turn into readers. And we see a lot of people turning into readers as kids. We're going into the schools, and then they're coming in and they're coming to the store and they're like, Mom, I got to get the next book. I want to learn what else happens. Or, Miss Shannon taught us about comics and I want to come. I did a workshop at a school this year, and it was the Thursday after Free Comic Book Day. And I said, oh, everybody, you're all going to get free comics at the end, but we're going to talk about those later. Like, let's work on our comic that we're making. And as I'm going around the room to see how everybody's progress is, all these kids are reaching into their backpacks to get out the free comics they'd gotten during Free Comic Book Day. And this one kid like conveniently slides it next to his work on the table. And I was like, oh, did you come to the back for Free Comic Book Day? And he's like, yes. And then all the other kids are like, so did I. I was there too. And like now like reading and talking about it is cool. Like now they all want to be the cool kid in the class that's reading. And it's just awesome.
I mean, and then that's where a lot of the things that we're looking into doing is we noticed or we know that literacy rates are down. And we always say is that we grew up reading comics, and that's something that's not really happening now, and it's not really the children's fault, because comics aren't in the same spaces they were when back in the 80s and 90s and in grocery stores and 5 and dimes, and they were everywhere, but that's not the case now.
Yeah, and you look at the biggest sellers in kids literature right now, though, are things like Dog Man and things like Five Nights at Freddy's graphic novels, all made, Captain Underpants, oh my gosh, the kids, the Left Behind, the zombies book, Last Kids on Earth. Thank you. You're seeing a lot of these kids graphic novels are really and to your point, like the ones that are in the Scholastic Book Fair more than anything are the ones that are top in the charts for all graphic novels. You know, if you look at the BookScan numbers for last year, the top 20 books, what was it, 15, 16 of them were all Scholastic Book Fair books. And those kids so they want them. And if you put them in the kids' hands, they're going to read them and they're going to be excited about it. And Dave Pilkey will gladly testify to that with Dogman and Captain Underpants. That man it's so busy trying to make more books fast enough for them.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, that's something that probably needs expansion into, especially areas where the rates are really low, like in Ohio and places like that we've heard that they're having a lot of problems. So hopefully things can expand and we get those things into the readers' hands, and then you'll have a new crop of creators also coming out.
Yeah, and honestly, that's what made us start the Books Are Magic program, was that exact philosophy. The Books Are Magic program is essentially reading is fundamental kind of programming for comic book stores. And so we create lesson plans each month that are just kind of activities that you can do with kids at home, in a classroom, in a comic book store. And then we create a question guide that you can ask the parents can talk to their kids about comics, or teachers can talk to their kids about the comics they're reading. And we give themed ideas of, here are some graphic novels for young readers all the way up to teenagers. And what we do with this is we actually offer it free to comic book stores. If you are a comic book store and you are trying to figure out how to get connected with schools or how to get connected with kids in your community, we will rebrand all of the materials for this program every single month for free for your comic book store to have this on site. So then you have a program already put in place that parents will know, schools will know, libraries know, that they can come to you and get a suggested reading list, question list, activity guide, or you have an activity you can just do in your store. And so we create this. We have 8 stores nationwide, 6 stores with 8 locations nationwide that currently we make the materials for each month, and it's available to any store. And
that's awesome.
Yeah, we want stores to, not every store has the background to make something like this, and it's like, you know what, or the time, and it's like, I've got it, I'm already making it anyway. Put it in your store and see what happens. See if it helps kids read.
And it's great having those
definitely benefits everybody.
Yeah, and things that kids can do. We always have activity sheets either in our classroom or in our kids section where kids can just come in and, hey, there's activities out on the table here. And the parents, oh, yeah, you want to go run back there and do it? And they're in the back of the store, so everyone knows where the kids are at. They're not going to get pulled out the front door, by some kidnapper or something. They're in the back. People know where the kids are at. they're taken care of, and they have an activity to do while, you know, people are shopping or whatever it is, you know, and they love it.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, that's the saying is that expansion would be awesome. You said you have six stores right now?
Yeah, there's 6 stores in different points of the country, and then a couple of them have 2 different locations. And so, you know, and it's like actually today is September 30th, so all of their stuff will probably go out in the middle of the night tonight. So they have it for tomorrow, for October, if they need it. And yeah, it's, you know, it's free. It's a free resource. And a great thing too, that you can approach a school then and say, hey, this is like an actual curriculum you can use in your classroom. If you need the books, we can order them for your classroom. You know, there's some of the stores that are participating. So it's great. And I'm so thankful to all of these stores who trust me to just send them stuff blindly every month.
Friend of the pod, Grant, said he loved your wine shows and he thanks you for doing it. You know,
Thank you.
That's Grant Lankard, friend of the pod, you know, fellow Comicsburg creator. So
I was gonna say, Grant, I was just like, that's Beowulf.
Beowulf.
Let's call it what it is.
Absolutely.
let's call it what it is. Oh man, he's an awesome guy.
Yes.
He also says, I think the statistic is 1 in 7 adults never read a book after they graduate. That is not a really great statistic, but having comics introduced to you know, kids early and everything, you guys are doing the work. As they say, you're doing the Lord's work and everything. You know, getting them into the game early, you know, so they can be, you know, integrated into, like, you know, the reading and stuff. It's such a beautiful thing what you guys are doing. You guys' website is just loaded. So as Shannon was saying, they have like different downloads and stuff of plans and lesson plans that are available. So if you guys want to go to batcity.org and, you know, look in the books or magic tab and stuff, you guys can, you know, just download some questions, you know, some, you know, lesson plans and everything. If you want to do this in your area, it's right there for you. Shannon's doing the work for you. Shannon and Matt is doing the work for you. So take advantage, seriously.
And you could, even if you're just a parent sitting at home, you can download these too. And, you know, do them with your kid.
I try to make each activity something that if somebody doesn't have resources, they can still do it. And so a lot of them are things that if I was a kid and my parents were like, just find something to do at home and we didn't have the supplies, I wouldn't have to go, I can't do this because I don't have supplies. You know, I don't have fancy like tie-dyeing equipment or things like that. Like I don't have an extra t-shirt. And if my mom comes home and I tie-dyed a t-shirt, I'm going to get in a lot of trouble. So it's like, what kind of stuff can kids do that you don't necessarily need a lot of resources to do it.
Awesome. So it sounds like my next question was, what makes you guys stand out in the community? Obviously, this is, you know, one of the bigger things that makes you guys stand out. How does that affect you guys' customer engagement with your, you know, you having a shop as well with all this? How's customer engagement been throughout the years since you guys started doing all this?
Man, it's wild. I think, you know, you talk about store demographics, and you guys have had retailers on your show and things like that. You talk to other retailers. It's odd for us because at Bat City, more often than not, like I would say 50% of our clientele or more come in with children, you know, and when I say children, I mean under the age of 14. You know, there are kids coming into the building every day, all day, half the day there are kids there. And so it kind of makes it a little bit different. But again, at the same time, they have things that they can do. They have a massive section. All the books in that section are at their height. And they're done by age range. So we always say if they can reach it, they can read it, which is great because then the kids have like their own comic shop. They even have their own like row of short boxes that are all kid-friendly titles by genre and character. So they can even flip through and get that catharsis that all of us adults know and love of flipping through comic bins. And then you can sit there with your kiddo and teach them to learn how to browse the bins too. You know, if that's the thing you enjoy doing as a parent, you can do it with your kid. So it kind of makes the interaction in the store a little bit different. But that said, our store is set up, not just the kids thing. Of course, you know, being a nonprofit, we're very focused on the kids and all that. But we are Bat City Comic Professionals. So there are a lot of different sections in the store. We don't sell toys, really. We don't really sell, we don't really sell t-shirts. We don't sell cards. We don't sell board games. We don't sell posters. We don't sell wallets and stickers. We don't sell any of that stuff. We just sell books.
Okay.
But we have 500,000 backstock issues. We have over 300 CGC graded collectibles. We have 4 or 5 drawers full of key and collectible issues. We have a splash wall, like a regular store. We have a clearance area. We have full price trade paperbacks that we do 10% off every day on. We've got half off trade paperbacks that we do every day. And then we've got all the new comics that come out every week too. So you kind of, as you walk around the store, there's something kind of for everybody who's into comic books. Mm-hmm. And that kind of is the vibe at the store, because everybody who comes in likes something about comic books, Yeah.
And we don't also have a lot of bookstores in our area in general. There is one bookstore in our town that's a big box bookstore, and that's Books A Million. So we don't even have a Barnes and Noble in our town.
Yeah.
And so for us, like, that's kind of why the other reason we focus so heavily on the books is because where are you going for them? When we did our demographic research when we were moving here, it was like a lot of the stores were gaming stores or toy stores, and there wasn't another like store that was.
And they're awesome gaming and toy stores.
And they're amazing.
They're unbelievable. If you're into that,
they're some of the best. Yeah. Like, we have a couple of them here. Like, we have one in town, and then we have one in the next town over that's comics and games, and both of them are big partners of ours. We love both of them so much. Yeah. And they're both doing incredible things for the community as well, which is something that we just love to see. But yeah, we were like, we can just focus on books, because if you want toys, there's like 37 dope toy stores in this town,
especially in Tampa.
In
just
this
45
area,
minutes north. Yeah,
you're gonna find some all-star toy stores. So we were like, okay, let's just focus on books. And then, being that we are a nonprofit and we're in schools all the time, we do get a lot of, schools doing book fairs with us and book literacy nights and things like that. Mm-hmm. And so to the engagement aspects, like, we see so many people who are like, you came to our school, so we want to come to you. And, what kind of books do you have available for not just my kid, but for me? And so it's almost like the opposite, where, in so many comic book stores, it's like, oh, I'm here and my kid's here, so, like, do you have something for my kid? We get a lot of the opposite question. We get do you carry things for adults? Like, for the
right.
coming to the store, and we're like, oh yeah, you can come too. There's a lot for you. There's actually
or do you carry things besides Batman comics?
Yeah, we do get that a lot. We're like,
like independent stuff.
Tons and tons and tons of independent.
Right.
And the other thing too about interaction in the store is we don't, because like most cash wraps have all the toys and stickers and things, we don't have that up at our cash wrap. We have stools up there, so anybody at any time can come in and pull up a chair and hang out in the shop and talk. We treat it kind of like a community center.
Yeah, definitely. So we have a classroom on site, so it's definitely a community center. And to the cash wrap point, most people right by their cash wrap have impulse buys, and so you'll see, card sleeves or tchotchke toys and stuff. My impulse buy section right next to my cash wrap is 120 indie comics that you may have never heard of, and so it's like I have them right there. They're marked by their genre, and it's like while you're standing in line, you're like, what's this book? Like, I've never heard of this. And I'm like, oh my gosh, let me tell you about it, because I read it. So
tabs above them too with the genre that they are. So, horror, this is a fantasy book, this is a sci-fi book, this is an action book. So you kind of have an idea. Another thing that we do is we don't put all of the Marvel and the DC books out on the main wall. The main wall has 175 titles, I believe.
No, it's got, it's like almost 200?
200, something like that. So across those shelves there, we don't put out every single Batman title. We don't put out every X-Men title. We don't put out necessarily Deadpool. But we do put out Comicsburg. We do put out Blood Moon and, Wave Blue World and smaller publishers. And then Shannon has title cards for all of those, kind of like a Netflix description of what that book's about. So you can sit up there and you can kind of get an idea as you walk around what each book is. And then people go, well, do you even have the new Deadpool issue? Oh yeah, we've got those up here at the front in a short box. Because if you're looking for Deadpool, you already know you're looking for Deadpool. You're going to come up and you're going to ask for your Deadpool. Like, hey, where's it at? But you're not necessarily going to ask for Theme of Thieves. You're not going to necessarily know about the Edge. Why don't we showcase those with our wall so that people can get into them and try them out? And we sell more indie books than we sell Marvel and DC.
Yeah. Or, if we really want to showcase the Edge, Matt just takes out that nice action figure he's got and shows
Don't worry, the real deal is coming soon. The G.I. Joe scale action figure next year.
Oh man, that's
we have a bunch of them for you.
Man, isn't that
David
just the
says,
dream?
great speaking with you guys.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
What were you saying, Matt?
I was saying that was the dream when I was a kid. You come up with your own character and you make this character and you're playing with your action figures and you put all this life into it. And it could even be your Luke Skywalker figure and you're pretending it's somebody else. But you kind of add an action figure of your own character. And now, Marvin, you have an action figure of your character. It's like, that's so super cool. Like, you're living the dream, dude.
It's awesome. It's awesome to have it.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, the good thing about us creators is that, we try to think of something in the brain, it comes out, it comes out how it comes out, and, we've been doing this for so long and everything. It's like, we definitely appreciate the support that we get as far as that, and definitely appreciate you guys doing what you're doing to gain that support and keep the, the stuff going and stuff. We had a couple other comments here I wanted to post. Steelers lost, but comics are, as always, winners. Absolutely. Andrew's the 11th backer for the Edge. So thank you, Andrew. Definitely appreciate you there. We love everybody who comes in and actually talks with us on, these channels and stuff. So it continues the whole engagement thing and everything. So absolutely. Grant says small towns have the best comic shops.
Ain't that true?
How big is Bradenton?
56,000 people.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Small town. I'm from Chicago originally, though, so the layout of the store is kind of based on some of my favorite Chicago comic book stores. Yeah. And Shannon's from San Antonio and Austin, and so there's some of that flavor put in there.
And when I was in Austin, I worked for Book People, which is one of the largest independent bookstores in America, and so there's a lot of what I experienced working in the indie bookstore world that comes into play in how we run our comic shop.
Yeah. And it's kind of got this big city look and feel of the store itself with the small town community that you want in a comic book shop. So it's kind of a nice little blend.
And the great thing is that you get each customer that comes in, I bet they get that feeling of community, as soon as they come in with you guys, welcome them in and everything.
Oh,
speaking of you got to have that customer engagement, or else people why are you what are you doing this for and everything? You're just behind the counter. You want to talk about comics and stuff, So what percentage of customers of yours would you say buy indie comics on a regular versus I guess the mainstream Marvel, DC, Image?
I don't have a subscriber in my subscription deck that doesn't have at least 2 indie comics on their pull list. So most of my customers will buy it.
But higher than 50% is indie. I'd say at least 60% of our subscribers
have at least 50% or more.
50% or more indie comics.
Yeah, that's what Greg Gage. He owns Black Cat Comics in Utah. He said the same thing. 60-70% of his customers buy indie books,
absolutely.
which is awesome for us.
Yeah.
Now we know that we're not just doing this just for fun. So people are enjoying the books, and it's funny because he even said that if someone is saying, "Oh, we're dropping X-Men Avengers," he says, "I'll put the Edge in their hands," or I'll put another team book in their hands, or I'll put a Beowulf. So it's really awesome that you're not losing a customer because they're falling out of love with certain books.
Yeah.
And that's the thing right now that we're seeing, and you're seeing it a lot on the internet, and people are talking about it, that, comics are not a thing or whatever. And they're mostly talking about Marvel and DC. But the thing that people don't realize that we see firsthand being comics retailers is that comic book stores are bookstores now. They're not superhero stores. They are bookstores. Right. You go in and there's all kinds of genres. Like I was saying earlier, action, sci-fi, adventure. You've got all these different genres. So when people come in, they say, I'm not really into this stuff. I say, well, do you read books? And they're like, well, yeah, I read novels. I'm like, cool. What kind of novels do you read? Because guaranteed we can find you a comic that's pretty much the same thing that you're into right now. You know, are you into crime procedural? Cool.
Mhm.
There's comics about
There's
those.
so many comics.
There's
about
tons
that,
of comics. Yeah. And that's the thing about, you don't think about right now. The cultural zeitgeist doesn't think, oh, comic book stores are bookstores with pictures.
Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
They don't think that. They think, oh, that's a superhero store. And they need to stop thinking that. And, oh, Marvel and DC aren't making it anymore. Okay, well, indie books are huge right now.
Mm-hmm.
I tell people all the time, like when we get those like first timers that come in that are saying something like that, like where they're like, oh, well, I'm just here with my friend. I don't like comics because because I'm not into superheroes. And I always say, I'm like, yeah, okay. So the rest of it, like 70% of comics are for you then. Like, let's go. Like 30% is maybe superheroes. That's just a genre. That's like going into a bookstore and saying, oh, I don't like books because I'm not into cooking. And the whole first floor is like always cooking books and the travel channel. Like that first entry section in every bookstore, you get your travel books, your cooking books. And it's like, if you went into the bookstore and you made it that far and you were like, oh, I guess books aren't really my thing. And you're like, no, like the majority of the bookstore is not that. Like there's so much more.
Yeah.
And to your point, Matt, I mean, saying that bookstores or comic stores are bookstores, I don't even think a lot of comic shop owners even think that same way. You know, so for
we lost you.
No, he went.
Oh, you got no sound, DP.
Oh, there you go. We lost
You're muted. You're muted.
Censoring his rant he was going on.
Right.
It was Grant. Yeah, you're muted. So I'll ask the next question since he's muted. So what do you see as a retailer that causes a fan to go look at indie comic books?
Honestly, the thing that really is kind of starting to draw people towards indie is people really want a story. And they want a story that you didn't have to be reading for the last 60 years to get into, you know, and that's a big fall off point for a lot of the Marvel things, or they don't want to necessarily feel like if they, you know, they have to read other books connected to it or anything like that. I think one of the big things that's drawing people to indie now is it is like, I can pick up this book and for the next 4 to 12 issues, I'm going to get an all-star story of some kind, and it's going to be contained in that world, and it's going to be good. And they feel that difference when they pick it up, and I think that's been a big draw recently.
Customer said to me the other day, I only want 4 issues of something. I don't want to be committed past 4 issues. So anything that's 4, I'll buy it. What do you like that's 4 issues? You know?
And
kind of throwing it out there.
And I think those are big pieces of the puzzle. And honestly, I do think that, you know, it is well, there's superheroes and all over the shelves. There's superheroes on the television. There's superheroes at the theater. Like, what's got me something else? What's something else that I can jump into? And yes, I see the comments about the Energon universe. That is huge. You know, the Energon universe, it started with just those Gen X kids who were like, yes, my time has come, like Transformers and G.I. Joe, let's go. And then it kind of grew out from there, and they're all like those 5-issue minis, so you can find your character and jump into it, and then it's like, oh, well, I want to see what else is going on. And like, it got me. I was like, I was kind of into Transformers, but I always I was an adamantly not a G.I. Joe fan, like as a kid. I was born in 83, so I'm like right after both of them really when I started watching TV, and I got like that second issue of Transformers when it's like the plane is coming at the Transformers, and I'm like, that's gonna be Duke. Oh my gosh, I don't even care. I'm so excited right now. Like, I know that's what's gonna happen. It's gotta be. And then I'm like, why am I so invested in this story? And like, but it's true. Like it gave somebody. It's so different. It was so like amazing. And let's be honest. At the end of the day, what's drawing people to indie? It's the art. The thing that draws everybody to that Energon universe is that Daniel Warren Johnson of it all. Like, people are loving the art. They're loving that Hayden Sherman. They're loving Christian Ward. They're loving all these artists that are, you know, kind of rocketing up in the indie world. I was just saying today that DC has Hayden Sherman for Wonder Woman, the absolute, like the all-in Wonder Woman. And they were like, oh, breakout artist Hayden Sherman. And I was like, breakout artist? Man, Vault's been like toting Hayden Sherman out since Wasted Space with that beautiful, beautiful book. Like, what breakout? This man has been...
He's already broken out.
He broke out.
He's already broken out.
Absolutely. I like
funny.
Yeah. Page just made that comment about the covers. He said the covers are will really draw someone to book. So we always say that it's the cover that gets you on that first issue, but it's a story to get you back to that second one.
That's
Absolutely.
Right. There's 18 pages of covers on the inside of the book.
Yeah, with word balloons and everything. So Brian says it's the same reason Valiant readers are so rabid in the beginning. It wasn't the speculative market. It was the stories, and Unity was so good it changed everything. Valiant is now more of a dirty word.
Yeah, I mean that's because of all the reboots they did. But I mean, back then in the 90s, I was a Bloodshot fan. I was buying Bloodshot every week. I love Bloodshot.
Hey, if you haven't checked out their resurgence, they're doing that resurgence right now. Now that Alien Books has brought them in, and it's trying to like bring everybody back and build that same like unified universe for them. So,
and if you're into Bloodshot, check out Black, White, and Bloodshot that just dropped. Everybody's doing those Black, White, and Red books.
Yeah,
it's wicked.
Yeah,
it's cool.
Since the internet sabotaged me, Marvin, did you
I did the one about what do you see as a retailer that causes a fan to go look at indie books? So you're on the main factors one.
Yeah. So great question. What main factors do you see causes an indie book to be popular in your shop there?
No.
And why is it all comic book titles? That'd be the
I mean, that is an easy one. There definitely, like, once somebody gets hooked on a publisher, that does actually help a lot. Like, okay, I picked up one book from you, and then I want everything. You know, like when we have people who are like, if it's Comicsburg, I want it. And they don't care which Comicsburg, why, Comicsburg is this, I want it all.
Yeah.
You know,
they flip to the back and see this.
Yeah.
There you go.
There's people who are like, I want everything Distillery puts out because I love that first book I grabbed. And so there is like a brand loyalty essentially to the publishers for some people, which is really cool. But honestly, like, the biggest thing, what really, the biggest factor is, did we read it and do we talk about it? Because if we, when we're sitting there like, oh my God, I love this book, people love it too. There is the thing, like everybody knows, like we talked about, that I read all of them and I talk about them. And like you said, DP, I get excited about all the books. But if Matt from across the room goes, oh my God, I love that book too. Well, all of a sudden I got to reorder that book because everybody wants it. Because Matt said it, so we gotta.
Matt has cachet.
Yeah, I see it.
Normally, the people here in the shop know me as the guy who evaluates your comics. We have a clean and press desk, and I press 6 to 7 books a day. I've got 7 presses out on the floor. My cleaning desk is there, so I'm cleaning with my magnifier. And then meanwhile, customers can come over and they can get appraisals on their books. They can come up to me and say, hey, is this going to be worth it? I've got a Tales of Suspense, 41. Is this in nice enough shape for me to grade? If I put the money into it, is it actually going to be worth it in my investment? And so I can look at it and I can give you a pretty darn close estimate of what that grade's going to come back as. And so that's usually what I'm doing in the shop on my days when Shannon's there. And so if I yell across the room, oh my God, that book is amazing, when Shannon and a customer are talking about something. Now you got 2 votes of confidence from across the store too.
Oh yeah.
People are looking around going, oh man,
the wallet card and everything. I might as well, buy this right now. Matt said.
We tell people, we're like, here's the thing. If you're not sure, sit right here in the stool and read the issue.
Yeah. We've got chairs, we've got stools. Just try it. And they're like, well, what if I don't like it? I'm like, then you put it back on the shelf and you go try again. Like,
I would rather you spend $3.99 if all you have is $5 in your pocket and you got tax on a comic, obviously. If you're going to buy one book today, I want you to go home and actually read the thing. I don't want it to sit next to your bedside table and you put a cup of water on it and it gets ruined and you never read it and it just stacks up. And I want you to go home and I want you to be so obsessed with that comic that you just picked up that you can't wait to get back and get that next issue next month. So you actually get people back. And we found if we let people read the books in the store, they'll read issue 1 and they'll go, okay, I'm buying this. You have issues 2, 3, 4. How many do you have? And then they buy the whole series and they buy the number 1 because they felt bad because they read it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Might as well have something to complete the collection. Quick shout out to everybody.
A bunch,
Quick shout out to everybody who's joining the chat here. Alfred, he's another one of our Comicsburg, creators and stuff, as Blowtorch in the stores. King Rex Comics, thank you for joining us. Let me see, your boy Alien, thank you for joining us. Mike's Total Dragon Channel, he's the one that was talking about the Energon universe. Thank you guys for joining us. Brian Wells, he's the one to talk about the Valiant, so thank you for joining us. Just thanks for everybody who's listening and watching it. We got some really great store owners today. I'm so excited and basically appreciative to talk to you guys so far. All right, so where else what kind of what general advice do you give to like indie creators such as ourselves, Comicsburg, creators or what have you? What general advice do you give to indie creators when it comes to dealing with retailers? Best practices when they're coming and trying to shop their books.
I do this a lot actually. First of all, we are insanely busy in a store. So
call on Wednesday, right?
Right. And you have no idea how many creators call on a Wednesday and are like, hey, do you have some time to talk about my book? And I'm like, no. And they're like, okay, should I call back in 30 minutes? I'm like, that's worse. Please don't. Honestly, like they're grab a card. Like if you do come in person, grab a card, like know that, be aware of like if we're talking to customers, things like that. Like, but honestly, like the greatest thing you can do is have a PDF of your book that you can show us, so that I know that it is a complete book. Because there are a lot of people that come in and say, oh, I got a comic. And I'm like, cool. And they're like, here are some images. And I'm like, cool. And I'm like, how many issues is it? And they're like, I think it's going to be 12. We're working on issue 1 right now. And I'm like, that's amazing. Come to my creator meetup. We can talk about how to get that issue 1 complete. We can talk about how to pitch it to a publisher or self-pub, like whatever you want to do. But like, I'm not going to talk about putting it on my shelf yet because it doesn't exist.
And that's a great point, though. It's not that we're not willing to help you, especially us. We've got those creator meetups in the place for it. It's like, hey, no, reach out. You can say, hey, I'm working on this thing. Is there a good time where I could come and meet with you and talk about it? Because you guys know comics better than anyone,
right?
Right. But meanwhile, if somebody calls and says, hey, so hi, how's it going? My name is so-and-so, and I have this comic, and it's about this and this and this. I'm already in line with a customer. So I'm like, sure. And I'm ringing this person. I'm not paying attention to you. So a nice thing to say is, hi, I'm with this. Do you have a moment to speak? I'm sorry. Am I catching you at a good time? I do have a PDF ready. I can just send that to you.
Can I send you an email?
Send you a PDF.
And email is so good. And as much as like we both always are like, oh, I'd rather talk to you face to face, because I would 100% rather talk to you face to face. I'd rather get to have a conversation. But at the same time, I also want to dedicate the right amount of time to what you have. And so saying like, hey, can I send you an email with the PDF so you can check it out, is going to be like really the most efficient way to actually guarantee I order your book. I might develop a real cool friendship with you and we might be like real good friends if you just come in and talk to me. But if you want to make sure that I'm getting your book for my store, sending me something like in an email that I can go back to, especially if it is something that is available for order through one of the distributors, like sending me that email is really great because then I can actually add it into my system and I can put it in my notes. But if you just tell me while I'm doing 10,000 things, it might go away.
I saw one the other day that said you can order this through code, and this was the code. And I'm like, well, hold on, which distributor were they with again? Were they with Lunar or Penguin or Diamond? Like, so, hey, you can order this from Diamond. This is the code. Final order cutoff this day, in shops this day. You know, so I've seen some creators put out the final order cutoff in one color and the sale date in another color, because we have to order it on a date, right? And then we have to tell our customers that it's going to be out on a date.
Yeah.
And so many ask, hey, when's it going to be out? And then you look it up and the one number you see is, September 15th. And then they're like, oh, I thought the book was coming out. And you check again. It was like, oh, that was the final order cutoff day. You know, so who's the market that you're talking to as an indie creator? You know, who are you trying to pitch it to? Are you pitching to the audience, pitching to the store owner? And the store owner also needs to be able to promote the book, right? Especially when we're excited about it.
But and honestly, I mean, circling back to that first part though, like I'm always also happy to talk about books. I just had somebody message me, a creator that I've known for a while, that messaged me and was like, hey, I got a meeting with this publisher. Are you available to talk about my questions about that publisher so that you can like let me know like what they're looking for and what I should say and and I'm like, yes, like hit me. What are your questions? Like, happy to, let's go. You know, I'm ready to give you all that, because that's what I want to make sure everybody's book gets out there. You know, I want to make sure not only like that it gets to a publisher and gets to the shelves, but I want to make sure that it gets in the right hands of the right people. So I'm like, from day one to day one on the shelf, like let's go. Like, we've got something for you for all of it. But you know, like, make sure we're also on the page of like who's got where are we at right now? Like, I've got a line of 30 people. Which way do we want? Like, let's make a time to talk about this.
And also another real cool thing is it's real expensive to do, especially if you're a real indie comic creator and, you know, small budgets and things like that. But like you guys, if you send a package in the mail with a copy of your book and say, hey, this is for you, I hope you enjoy it, you're able to order this and it's got those codes on it. I have that book in the hand at the counter and I could even show it. Hey, you think this is cool to my customers? They're like, whoa, this is dope. And they take it out and they start flipping through it. I'm like, dude, cool. Can I sign you up right now?
Yeah.
Man, they're already on it, you know.
Yeah,
I mean, we had a guy
That's something I've been encouraging people to do is, firstly, don't call on Tuesdays or Wednesdays, and send out care packages. Like, I send out something like every month. Something, stickers, posters, postcards, slat books, whatever I have on hand, I'm throwing into a box and sending it out to you guys.
Yeah. I love the postcards.
Yeah.
Postcards are great.
Yep. Absolutely. Stickers are neat too, because people stick them in their stores. They stick them in the bathroom or wherever, you know, and so it's real easy. You can throw that into an envelope and mail it out, you know.
And a lot of the things like that I'll use as a prize, where it's like, hey, if you subscribe to this title through the first 3 issues, you get entered to win this awesome prize direct from the creative team. And it's like, oh, okay, well, I'm going to pick up those first 3 issues for sure because I won that dope prize. And then it's like, and then you get into it, because I always make, like, we always say to the 3rd issue, because I have the Shan's rule of 3, which is the turn is usually in the 3rd issue. So you're going to know by the end of the 3rd issue if it's a book is for you or not 9 times out of 10. Yeah. And so, but like, you might not know until then, because sometimes they don't give you everything. They got to lure you in. You know?
Right. You got to get that fishing line out there and get it in there.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, like, so it's then I say I encourage creators out there to send swag to stores. Yeah. And I mean, that's probably the easiest way to get attention is some swag. Send that swag out. You know what's.
And the easiest thing for you guys, honestly, because you have a good relationship, right? You guys are writers. If you got a good relationship with the artist, hey man, can you draw me 20 sketch cards? I'm going to choose my 20 favorite stores that I know already like us that I can send them out to. And you throw out the 20 sketch cards. Now those stores, it didn't cost you really anything. It just cost you a couple of stamps and some time. You didn't have to spend a lot of money printing product. But we had one guy who sent us, like, the artist, I think, did 4 different sketches from the book that was coming up. And it was like, well, we're going to keep one of these for ourselves because we're fans. And now I've got 3 more. So, okay, like Shannon said, the one who subscribes to, okay, you're going to subscribe to that title and another couple of titles on this publisher. Maybe you get one. Okay, we're going to do a raffle for one. We're going to do a giveaway, something like that, you know? And it, again, what did it cost you? Some time and stamps. So,
right. Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is super important, guys. For anybody who's watching the podcast, you know, right now, Shannon and Matt are spitting game. They're spitting some knowledge for all these independent creators out there asking, why can I get my stuff in the store? Why can I get myself to do well in the stores? How can I get myself to do better in the stores and everything? You know, these are, you know, store owners in which we talk every week. Make sure you like and subscribe so you can actually get that knowledge as well. Do you guys... Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say the only other thing I would add to that is the thing that most retailers want to know is how are you marketing the book? So if you include in like whatever PDF you're sending me, if you or your email or whatever you're sending for your communication, if you say, also, this is our marketing campaign, and you put those handles in there for all social, but you're like, hey, we're going to be doing paid ads for this, or we're going to be doing our own YouTube show for this, or things like that. That's huge because retailers want to know that they're not going to be yelling into the void about your book and like nobody else is going to be talking about it. Because let's be honest, so many people come in and they're like, oh, I saw this everywhere on my news feed and I wanted to check it out, is a big thing everybody hears. So if you know that like a creator has got a good marketing plan to go with it, that's gonna be major. And not just we sold it to this many people on Kickstarter, because then they say, oh, did you sell it to everybody? But like we went from this many people on Kickstarter to launch this as a marketing campaign to do this. It's like, how do you transfer the transition from like my Kickstarter audience is going to come into your store? If you have that marketing campaign, you are going to be top tier, because that's what everybody wants to know is how are you getting those people to come into my door too? Yeah. And that's the number one thing, honestly, other than the PDF, that I would say to a creator is know your marketing strategy and know how that assists the retail stores.
Yeah, a lot of store owners that I've heard talk say they want 50-50. So if I'm going to put in 50%, we want you to put in 50%. We obviously don't feel that way because we just like to read the books anyway, and we're going to talk about them. But some store owners have said that before, and we've heard it. And so as long as they get like, okay, cool, if you guys put this out, you try to market this in your store, you try and do a raffle for our sketch card, we are also going to do a series of YouTube promos. We're going to do a series of Instagram squares that are easily shareable. Hey, here's Instagram squares for your customer base attached to this email that you can automatically share right onto your Facebook and your Instagram. You don't even need to make the ad. The ad is already made for this book. Hey, come to your local comic shop. You know, that kind of stuff works really well.
Yeah.
You guys prefer buying books from creators directly themselves, or do you prefer like more dealing with distributors versus, you know, the middleman?
For me, I mean, it depends on the situation. Like if you're somebody that's coming into my store, like great. If I'm going to see you in person, like buying it directly from you, I would love to do that because you're right there. And it's great. But if you're like, it's really hard for the entire world's worth of creators to be like, okay, I need issue 2. So now I got to call, you know, DP so I can get issue 2 of this book from him. But Marvin's on issue 6. So I got to call Marvin, make sure I hit him up. Like that's where it's good to have the distribution. That's why we have that, is so it does make it easier. There's already 3 distributors for the main source of comics that we have to go through every day. So having to go back to order directly from people, would be extremely tedious on a normal basis. But if you're local, I don't mind if you're going to come in and make sure I'm stocked on the next issue, like buying from you. Like,
yeah, just walk in. It definitely is hard though, like Shannon said, because a lot of the people will be like, oh, hey, you can order our issue 1 from us directly on our site. So we help them out, right? Oh man, this person was really sweet. They seem like their book's really good. We read the PDF. It looks great. Cool. We ordered issue 1. And now that Wheel of Time starts, we've got podcasts to do, we've got things that are, you know, Shannon's making the books of magic things. You forget about it. That issue 2 reminder comes out. Oh yeah, I got to order that. And then it lapses in your brain and you forget about it. And all of a sudden the thing for issue 3 comes out and it's like, man, did we ever order issue 2? And you forget about it. And then the creator's like, oh, you never ordered from me. You must hate me. What did I do wrong? Did you hate issue 1? And it's like, no, I just forgot that your shit existed because it wasn't easy to get, you know? So it's really just that ease at that point, you know?
The list.
Yeah.
The list to just go through and go, yes, so yeah, I got 4 of this last time. I need 5 of it now, like kind of thing. It's easier.
The thing with store owners, with you guys, you just want to make things as you guys want to feel that everything is an ease of use. So everybody wants to make it simple. Just keep it simple. You know, you have other stuff to worry about, you know, versus all this other, you know, extracurricular stuff going on. So if you have things that's going on that can make it easy, or if we can make it as easy for you to deal with, then it's and that's a beautiful thing for you.
And I also want you to get paid. So make sure that's happening still. And if it's not, then please come directly to the people that support you, because we want to make sure you're getting paid.
Yeah.
Do you guys have a turn off for when you are approached by an indie creator?
Refusal to give a PDF.
That's overly
You've had that happen?
Yes. Several times.
Like, oh, you don't need one. You don't need it. Here's just some images.
Yeah. And then overly illicit material. I get a lot of people who come in and are like, oh, I have this great book. And then they open it up and I'm like, that's just naked people.
Yeah.
No.
And we are a family friendly store here. Yeah. You know, we don't have nude covers and things in our shop. So. Yeah.
So that to me is the biggest like turn off for sure. Like I can work around almost anything else, but if your content is vulgar, like extremely vulgar, or even moderately vulgar, honestly, or if it's what is the word I want to use? If it is hateful towards a group, we're just gonna call it that. We're just gonna put it what it is. If it is hateful, like I've seen people come in who have very racist material or discriminatory material, and they're like, oh, look at this comic, and I read it and I'm like, who is your target audience for this? Because it's not me. Like I promise you, and it's not my customer base, like at all. And honestly, and then that would be the next thing in line is if I'm like, oh, it's not necessarily for my customer base, and you get mad about that, that is also like.
Right, you have to be understanding when somebody says, "Oh, that's not going to work for my store," necessarily. You know. Yeah.
Gotcha. Well, we got a couple more questions to ask here before we get to our trivia section. You know, we're going to ask you guys some, some comics questions and stuff. Marvin, do you have any other questions you want to ask as far as indie stuff?
So we can combine this into one. So, do signed books make a difference to the people in your store? And then the second part is that do alt or specialty covers help at all?
Interesting. So signed stuff helps if it's signed like to the store, kind of like people are into that kind of a thing. Like, hey, Bat City, we love you or whatever. And they're like, oh, cool. I got this at my shop and it's signed for my shop. But we literally have a drawer in the store that's just signed comics. And they don't necessarily sell great. I've got George Perez signed stuff in there for $10 a book. And, you know, we all love George Perez. Yeah, $10 a book, some Hulk stuff. He did some Marvel fanfares, and they're not even moving. You know, now signed slabs, yes, we sell a ton of Yellow Label signature series slabs. And people will buy those, you know, all day. And especially if they're high grades. Or creators who have passed on, you know. But yeah, just signed in general, like, you know, maybe if it's a Sam De La Rosa signed Venom, you know, they'll buy that or something, or a Bagley signed Venom. But otherwise, it's not like a huge thing. But signature series, yes. Yeah.
Unless you are here doing the signing, and then people will turn out for it. Even then, and it's funny because, like you said, like a lot of times we don't sell them if they're signed, unless they're Yellow Label signature series. But then when we have the signings in store, people don't Fig series, their signed books while they're getting it. Like then it's about the experience for them, so they don't really care. Right. So, but it's like if I'm gonna buy it and I wasn't there, I want it to be verified and witnessed. And if I'm gonna buy it and I am there, I don't really care. Right. But it's I don't know. And right, yeah, it is really, it's an interesting thing because like a lot of people they don't like, they're not like necessarily particular. And then honestly with variants, like for the most part, most of my subscription customers just get the cover A. They don't really necessarily go for a variant cover. Which I mean always makes it easier for me because I will order one of every variant that's open order for the store every time. But the fact that like most of my customers are just cover A, like I don't necessarily like, unless it's like a person that is doing the variant, like on today's order, there is a Adam Hughes Black Cat cover for Spider-Man. Like obviously I have a lot of people who want that. Like I don't know anybody who doesn't want Adam Hughes drawing Black Cat.
That's a great point. If they have something like that, some kind of collectability. So like Peach Momoko, right? Peach Momoko covers do very well. Scotty Young covers do very well. You have people who are like, just give me anything Scotty Young does. Give me anything Peach Momoko. Okay. You know, or John Tyler Christopher. He does the negative space and he also does the action figure variants. So some people are like, I just want any action figure variant, whether it's Transformers, whether it's Star Wars, but it's not like, oh, this is just a cool art only variant cover. They're like, I mean, okay.
Like every once in a while, they'll be like, this looks cool. I want to get this one instead. But most of them are like, I don't really have people who flip through all the different variants to find the one they like.
Yeah.
That's sort of like tells me that the way you guys store is structured is more towards the reader, you know, so you get more the passionate, the reader versus like the collector, the speculative, you know, person that comes in just trying to like, you know, collect different stuff, which is just entirely different than, you know, a lot of other stores and everything. And like I said, you guys' customer engagement, I have to imagine it's just like through the roof.
Yeah.
Yeah. And honestly, like when it comes to the speculator, they're shopping Marvel, you know, and anything else that like Comic Tom tells them to buy on the hit list. And so it's like they wait for that variant to make a list. And so usually that's like the week after kind of thing. And so 2 weeks after, but like that Wednesday Warrior speculator, a lot of times they're just going straight to the Marvel and they're looking for that first appearance cover, or like he said, like a Peach Momoko or a Scotty Young.
Yeah.
Right.
And if they're reading it, they're like, I don't care what cover, just give me one because I could tear the cover off and it's still just the same, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
all right.
Yeah, I think they answered that one, the adult one, so we can skip that one. So you can get to the trivia, I think now.
All right.
So there's another one. So do you have a favorite indie book that you like pushing in your store, not including Comicsburg stuff?
Well, then yes, go for it.
Yeah, 7 Years in Darkness from Joseph Schmalk. That book is wicked, and they just started season 2, and we can't keep season 1 in stock. Though here's another great thing for small press creators. What he did is he took all the first 4 issues, which is the first story arc, and rather than releasing a trade paperback, he put out an 80-page single issue with paper covers and sold the thing for $9.99. And it's the first 4 issues. In case you missed it, those are all out of print, but here's like the second printing, and it's 4 issues combined in one $9.99 comic book. And then we accidentally doubled the order on that and ordered like 5 or 30 copies, and all of those gone, sold out. And because again, word of mouth, we're like, yo, open this up because this is wicked. It is dark. It is Harry Potter with witchcraft and Satanism and like hardcore, and it's badass. And people are like, yo, that sounds sick. It's like it's adult Harry Potter. And the $9.99 thing sold really well for us after selling those 4 issues. And now we're on the second arc here, and issue 2 just came out. We don't even have issue 1, and we're out of that. So that does really well. How about you?
I was like, that's currently on the shelf. Ooh. I can only pick one.
Right.
I was like, that's crazy.
Pick as many as you want.
I was gonna say, well, my one of my favorite books just restarted this week, which is Survival Street, which is with Dark Horse. But it is essentially what if America, what if we're gonna put that in quotes, what if America was run by major corporations and not the people? And they cancel Sesame Street.
Very prescient.
Yeah, totally. Again, it's a what if. It'll never happen. And so they cancel Sesame Street, and the Muppets, aka the Felt Americans, go on their own revolution, and they start literally trying to take down corporate greed and all of the people doing bad things to humans. And so that was one of my favorite books 2 years ago, and it just dropped its newest volume this past week. And then other than that, honestly, the Satanic Harry Potter was 7 Years in Darkness. Actually, there's one.
Oh, you got one there?
There's one right here on the table. Look, so you can see it. I just put it in front of the camera. Yeah.
7 Years in Darkness.
All right.
Yeah. And then honestly, the other one the other thing that I'm really into is the My Bad universe from Mark Russell, which is at Ahoy Comics. And it is anything Mark Russell does, I will sell out of immediately.
Absolutely.
He is just hilarious in all capacities. But this is a man who has written superheroes for DC and Marvel and things like that, and now he is writing his own superhero universe that is a parody, a strong satire of all superheroes. And their Batman character is the one of the main characters, and he is called the Chandelier, and he wears a giant chandelier like over his head, and he is a buffoon, to say the least.
He's rich because his parents owned a lighting store.
Yes.
And he has the fortune from the lighting store.
And so it's, yeah. And,
there's Rush Hour,
who
stops minor traffic violations.
Wow.
And it is the bad guy is named Emperor King, and his sidekick is a chimp that throws acid at things, known as Acid Chimp. And yeah, it is absurd.
That's
and
crazy.
Yet somehow super prolific all at the same time. You're like, wow, this is beautiful.
And you totally get all the things that's poking fun at and the comics industry at the same time.
It's wonderful. Yeah. So yeah, that is one that is on its third volume, and I can't keep it in stock. No. Like every issue is just gone.
And the trade paperbacks.
The trade paperbacks are always gone. And so yeah, it is fantastic. And another, that's another one of those publishers too, like Ahoy Comics. Like if you're not reading what they're doing, grab Toxic Avenger #1 when it comes out this month, because that's going to be your Ahoy comic license. That should be like your, if you need a gateway into them, that's going to be a good starter series.
Awesome. Last question. Do you prefer single issues or trades? Do you feel like your customers prefer one over the other?
Ooh, two different types of customers. And that's how I was talking about having all those different sections. We literally have people who come in and they're like, I don't read comic books. I want nothing to do with reading them. I only want to collect them for value. And that's one person, right? That's one type. And then you have people who are like, I only want single issues. Wow, that series sounds fantastic. It's like, well, it came out 5 years ago and we've got a trade paperback. They're like, no, I only want singles.
I'll go hunt them down.
I'll hunt them down. And then you've got the other people who are like, nope, that sounds awesome. I can't wait till it comes out in trade. Can I subscribe to the trade paperback? So it's kind of a little of everybody.
A little mixture.
Yeah.
I am a single issue person, though. I like the suspense and the drama. I want to be mad at my book for a month while I have to wait for the next one. Yeah. And somebody on this chat is real good at that, DP, making me like mad at like, this is where this ends. Really? Right. You're gonna make me wait until that, like, you finally give me a little bit of a reveal and then you're like, okay, see you next month, everybody. Yeah. No, but I love it. That's like,
appreciate you so much, Shannon.
Yeah, absolutely. You gotta have that. That's the point, right? You gotta have that time to marinate on the important pieces of the puzzle. You got to sit there and talk to your friends about what you think is going to happen. You got to yell at the book a couple of times. You got to, you need to have all of that experience. And there's some books where I'm like, yeah, okay, like the trade's out. And there are sometimes where I tell people, even if you buy this in trade, read an issue, get to that break point, and then like take a break, like take 10 minutes, go for a walk or something, because you need to process what you just read. And you're not going to get that if you read it all in a trade paperback. Like take your time with it, get that moment going. I'm already warning people who are trade waiting Helen of Windhorn. I'm like, from Tom King and them, I'm like, if you do not wait, like if you trade wait on that book, you better give yourself like 15 minutes between each issue, because you need to think.
That's a great point too, because like Theme of Thieves, I think works for me in single issue, whereas The Edge, I wish I should just keep reading it. Like The Edge feels like one thing.
Binge mode.
I want to binge through it because it's like it's fast, it's action, and I want to keep going. And Theme of Thieves, I want to sit there and I want to dwell on the concepts.
Yeah.
So each book kind of lends itself to either single or trade at the same time. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, that's a good thing about comics, where we offer a variety of different stuff. So, we got everything for you. Alfred from Comicsburg asks, would Bat City be open to doing Comicsburg exclusive Bay City cover titles for Bat City cover? I think that's what he's going to say. Bat City cover for some of his titles, like the Edge wearing Bat City T-shirts. Yeah.
The thing about those is that they are so ungodly expensive. We usually don't have the money to put up for exclusives. That's the big thing with us. And we've only done one exclusive ever. And the only reason why we did it is because I am a huge Dick Tracy fan, and they brought Dick Tracy back. I got a Dick Tracy tattoo on my arm. I grew up with him. He's my favorite character of all time. And Mad Cave actually approached us and said, hey, since we know you're the retailer who is the biggest Dick Tracy fan in the world, would you like to do a Dick Tracy exclusive? And we were like, can we put Bat City on the cover and Dick Tracy is there, about to leave Bat City and go off, on his way. That's the only reason why we did that one.
And they let us use our Bat City, the Slam Academy, which you had up on the screen earlier. Our Slam Academy art teacher did the cover.
Right.
So
okay.
Right.
Awesome.
So we were able to use a local artist for it. We didn't have to pick their artist and the whole thing. And really it was only because of that, because it was that huge property. We've been asked by a lot of different indie creators. We actually just got asked to do Babs, the new Garth Ennis title for Ahoy. They asked us if we wanted an exclusive for that. And it's like, we would love to, and we'd love to do all of them, but we're a nonprofit. So money is not, there's no profit. So, it has to be more of like a really niche thing for us, I think.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, so let's get to the trivia joint. Thank you guys for coming on to our channel. Appreciate you so much. We're going to pitch you guys to against each other, Matt, Shannon.
He's gonna win.
All right. So we got like 10 trivia questions. And the first person who answers the question, gets a point, and then whoever gets the most points at the end gets a no prize.
Woo! I love no prize. No prize.
Yeah.
All right, there we go.
It's okay.
All right, so the first question is, how many films has Christopher Reeve portrayed Superman in?
4. What do you got?
I was gonna say 3. I was gonna say 3, but you're right, because it's Superman.
I don't know. I'm making that up.
I say 2 is the right answer, because those.
What did you say, Marvin?
Those third and fourth ones don't count.
That don't really count. that's not the real. Hey, you might actually be right about that, but Matt gets a point on that one. Yeah. All right. Jean Grey is possessed by which ancient spirit? Spirit.
The Phoenix. I was like, does that count as the answer?
Right? Is that
right? Does the Phoenix count as a?
Is that the?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, isn't that the? Yeah.
Danny gets the point. All right. Lex Luthor first appeared in what issue? This is a toughie.
That's a Superman question. That should be something you would know.
I feel like I should. What is it? Action 1?
Right. I was gonna say Superman 1, but I.
Right.
Right.
All right. So none of you guys know the answer is Action Comics 23.
23.
Oh, you could do that to the chat and see if anybody in the chat knew.
Right. I was like, that's a you question, Matt. I figured you would have known that.
Keep going.
Keep
All
going.
Right, so next question. Who was Colossus? Who was Colossus' primary remaining interest in the comics?
Kitty Pryde.
Man, that was fast.
I knew that one.
Super fast.
0 questions.
It's 2-1. Shannon has 2. Matt has 1. All right. The comic character Robin first appeared in what issue?
Tech 23.
I have no idea. I have no idea.
It's where he's jumping through the hoop.
I have
Tech 23.
I have no idea.
I don't know. What you got?
All right. Anybody in the chat? The chat they have the internet in front of them, so I don't trust it.
It'd be after he's Batman, right?
But you can still.
It has to be like 28.
Right,
it has to be like 28 or later because Batman is 27.
27. So
it's got to be at least
38.
Is he 38? Okay,
I don't know.
Matt gets the point.
Oh, 38.
Was that a pure guess, Matt?
Yeah.
No, well, not really. I'm just trying to visualize it in my mind. Look at that corner box. I see him jumping through.
Okay.
He's got the little clothes.
Okay. That's awesome. Detective Comics 38. So definitely that's a good one there. All right. Batman first appeared in what issue? It should be like.
I was like Detective Comics 27.
You already said it.
All right, Shannon. The point goes to you. All right. This is a deep cut right here, or maybe. What is Gambit's secret identity?
Remy LeBeau.
No, it's Gambit.
It's Gambit.
Identity is Gambit.
Right. Well, the secret, that's the point.
No,
because your secret identity should be your actual person, because that's what you don't tell people. This is a trick question.
Okay. All right. It's Remy.
The name is Gambit. Remember it.
No, it's actually Remy LeBeau, so Shannon gets the point.
Absolutely.
I was like, ooh.
All right.
Apparently I know
which version of Ghost Rider was portrayed in season 4 of Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
Danny Ketch.
No, it was Robbie Reyes.
Robbie Reyes.
That's cheating. I'm friends with Gabriel Luna, so I was like, I better get that
right. Great answer. You got the question right there, Shannon. All right. In 2008's Punisher Warzone film, who portrayed the title character? What actor portrayed the title character?
Unfortunately, not Thomas Jane.
Right. I was like, that's the one that's not Thomas Jane, right?
Yeah.
So, who was the other guy that played? I don't know. He's not Thomas Jane. So I was like, I can't remember who it was.
I never saw it.
Look, chat, anybody?
Anybody in the chat?
The chat probably knows this one.
Well,
5 seconds.
R.I.P. on the actor.
1. Yeah, R.I.P. He recently passed away last year. Or was it earlier?
He was in Ashoka.
Yeah.
Oh. I have no idea.
Ray Stevenson.
Oh.
R.I.P.
Oh yeah, I do remember that. Okay. I didn't see the movie, I don't think.
It's pretty hilarious. Like the Jigsaw is the villain in it, and it's like really like the character is so over the top, it's ridiculous.
We'll have to watch it. Anything else?
Gambit's wife is Rogue now, but it was before Belladonna.
Oh, nice. That was in the chat question.
Oh.
Nice. Good job, Marvin.
You're muted again, DP.
The internet's after you.
So since he's muted again,
the internet doesn't like me tonight.
There he is.
All right. So the last question: whose assassination led to the future ruled by Apocalypse, where mutants were hunted?
Trask.
Whose assassination?
Bolivar Trask.
I think you conflated two questions there.
Did I?
Is it?
Yeah. So you ask the comic question, and then you ask the later comic question, and then a movie question, kind of all together.
All right. Do we strike that question from the
Well, I mean,
because Shannon won in a landslide.
No surprise there. If you guys don't know, Shannon worked at a comic book store when I met her. So I was just a regular guy shopping at a comic book store. She's the comics queen.
She's a Bat City comics queen and everything.
Yeah. So the question should have been, whose assassination led to the future by the Hounds? So Days of Future Past, not Apocalypse.
Yeah, Days of Future Past. Boulevard Trask.
Yeah. Right. No. So Days of Future Past was Senator Kelly.
Right. It's like it's
Senator Kelly.
Right.
That's right.
It was Trask in the movie. Yeah. Right. And then the Apocalypse, Age of Apocalypse was when Charles Legion killed Professor X.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
So there's a whole lot of people getting killed and ruining the future for mutants.
Oh no, whereas Marvin says it was a bad question. So like I said, Shannon won in the landslide, so definitely appreciate you. You guys did such awesome.
Thank you.
The crowd loved you. The crowd appreciated you so much and everything. You know, just raise your hands and yeah, buddy.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you guys for coming on. Thank you guys for appreciate you for being such great comic owners, comic shop owners. Thank you for such, really great engagement with your customers, because if it wasn't for you, we wouldn't have our books, known as much. We're like, indie creators itself. We're not as big as Marvel and DC and Image, obviously, and everything. So we just definitely thank you for everything that you do every day. You go through hurricanes, and you go through rain, sleet and all that. Well, you don't get no sleep down there anyway. But you go through all that stuff. Matt knows a little bit about that. You go through all that stuff just to give the comic experience to not only adults, but to children and to everybody who stepped into your shop. So definitely appreciate you. I want to thank you guys again for coming on here. Thank you guys for supporting Comicsburg. Thank you guys for going to Bat City and stuff. Is there any place other than the org site that they can follow you guys at?
Yeah, we're on pretty much all social media, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at Bat City Comic Books.
Bat City Comic Books, plural. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Bat City Comic Book, plural, and everything. All right.
Yeah.
All right. You got anything else, Marvin?
No. I mean, again, thank you guys for coming on. I want to thank everyone who hung out and did a chat with us. I think we got up to 10 people watching, so that's pretty cool.
Yep. It's awesome thing.
Thank you guys for making amazing books and for an incredible publishing company, because Comicsburg's great. You guys are putting out awesome things, and you asked us to be here, and we were like, yes, Comicsburg. We get to be on a call with them. So you guys totally rock. Black and yellow all day,
Hey.
All day.
Yeah.
Real sad about those Pirates not.
Yeah, if you guys didn't know, also Bradenton is the spring training ground for the Pittsburgh Pirates, and we've got the Marauders here in town, the Bradenton Marauders, and we're the single A team. So like when Bay got dropped down when he was injured and came down, he was here in town, and they play here. And we actually have a partnership with the Bradenton Marauders. Next year, we're going to be doing their kids club activities. And awesome. Black and yellow all day. Go Pirates.
You guys just keep it moving, everything. Hang out for a second backstage. I want to talk to you guys about something before we leave here. But again, thank you guys for joining Comicsburg stuff. And we will be back, pretty soon with some more. I still love comics, retailer talk. We love talking with the store owners regarding everything that's comics related. And thanks again for all your support. All right. Make sure that you visit comicsburg.com and make sure that you, again, go to batcity.org where you will get everything, Bat City professional related. All right.
All right. This Saturday, I'll be back on the streams. We're going to be talking action figures. And our next retailer talk will be with JD Calderon. We're going to be talking with Joe Murray from Captain Blue Hen.
Guys, peace
All right.
out. See you when we see you. You know, we want to just thank you for everybody. Hold on, Mark. All right, there we go. Here we go. All right.